Next up, you've got staff, which is quite an important screen. For me, straight away, I'm always looking at getting a full and competent or even excellent coaching team. Here I can see I've got 17 coaching staff and I've got 3 positions that aren't filled, which I can fill straight away, which is great. Apart from that, every coach that I bring in, I'll have to let a coach go. Just by clicking on one of them here, for example, I can see that this is a goalkeeping coach called Craig Mason, who actually isn't probably Man United level, although he's pretty decent. 16, 15 and 15 isn't actually bad. I could probably get 18, 18 and 18 across the board here and let Craig Mason go. That would mean that my goalkeepers would most probably become better. Their attributes would become better. There are a lot more variables, but obviously having good coaches is key. So if I wanted to get rid of Craig Mason straight away, I could just go over the contract, head down to mutual termination and click yes. I believe that you can mutually terminate almost any staff member's contract straight away when you start the game, because generally, as you would imagine in real life as well, you want your own coaching staff, right? And the board of directors will be fully happy to kind of back you on that. So that will free up one coaching spot. And that brings us nicely onto training, because here is where we find probably one of the most important menus for me, especially when starting a game. When we hit on coaches here, now I'm not an expert on training, by the way. I'm not going to go too much into detail on this. I generally let my assistant handle it. I know I'm probably going to get a little bit of hate for that, right? But that's just generally what I do. I do need to learn a little bit more about training before I fully take control of it myself personally, so I wouldn't feel confident giving you a kind of breakdown on that. But what is important and what I do have a lot of experience on is this menu here, right? It's the coaching assignment screen, and it's so important, right? Once you've hit coaches here in the top corner and then gone to edit coach assignments, this has so much importance when it comes to, or at least I believe it does, when it comes to your players, right? So you can see Darren Fletcher here. If I click on him, it'll tell me that he's taking control of the technical aspects of defending in our day-to-day training, right? But he's not actually very good at it. 2.5 stars, so it's not really very good. If you see down the bottom here, his attributes are actually determination, adaptability, and technical, his standard attributes anyway. So he wouldn't really be a good fit for defensive technical. In fact, I'm being recommended here, if you can see this highlighted here, possession technical. So if I click there and unclick him from technical, you can see straight away it's given us a little bit of a boost from Darren Fletcher. He's now a 3-star coach rather than a 2.5-star coach. This is the kind of principle you need to employ across the whole of your coaching setup. For example, you can see me, Dave Jones here, tactical, bang, 5 stars. Now that's related to the setup that we did at the start of the video, right? Where we gave myself like these amazing attributes, mental and tactical, etc. That has translated into me being an absolutely class coach. A lot of the other guys I'd probably just get rid of straight away. Like this 4.5-star guy here is great, I'd keep him. But like Charlie Owen, a fitness coach, only 4 stars. Like I'd mutually terminate his contract probably straight away just by hitting mutual termination there, for example, right? I know I can get a 5-star fitness coach or at least a 4.5-star fitness coach just from experience, right? So that's what I would do. Every new coach that you sign, and I'll go into signing coaches in a little bit more detail later on, will then appear on this screen, and then you allocate them a discipline. And hopefully, if you get it right, you will get 5 stars across the board. Let me know if you have any questions, by the way, on this down in the comments below, and I'll help you out. Oh, and you can, by the way, just before we move on, hit the Ask Assistant to Assign button at the top right-hand corner here, which sometimes can give you a little bit of a boost. You can see the star ratings on the bottom here. What we're aiming for is like 5 stars across all of these, really, optimally. And hitting the Ask Assistant to Assign is probably a quick way, straight away, of boosting these up a little bit, right, from the default. Next, we've got Medical Center, which I generally never, ever go into. Players get injured. It is what it is, right? That's the way I manage my team. I don't really tend to go snooping around in the Medical Center. Schedule is what it is. It gives you a list of all the games coming up. Each game you click on, you can see details of it here on the right-hand side. It's nice once the game is completed to have a little look back at this and you'll see who the goal scorers were, etc. Then you've got competitions. Again, don't generally use this personally, but I can see how it could be handy to have an overview of your Premier Division, your FA Cup and your Champions Cup performances or schedules or whatever it is. Like I say, I don't really use it. If you want to know how to get the logos, by the way, there's a video on that on the homepage. And then next you've got scouting. This is where I spend a lot of my time on Football Manager, so hopefully I can impart some knowledge on this one to you guys. Scouting Center, it generally is a little bit messy, this part for me, so I just go straight over to players. One of the first things to note is this recruitment package at the top left-hand side here. I would see no reason why you don't go for the world one at the top here. So as a default, you generally wouldn't have the best scouting package in the world, and you need to upgrade it straight away. Can't see an argument for not doing that straight away. Like, it doesn't cost that much. Maybe if you're a smaller team or a smaller club, or if you're using the editor, maybe it's not worth it. But that's that. And then this is how you search for players, right? Obviously, you've got your search bar at the top there, as you always do. But you can then do a new search. You can filter searches. So, for example, if I go new search here, it brings up the filter, which is my bread and butter. You can You can look for transfer listed players, which is a bit of a hack because you get them for cheaper. You can look for players that have run out of their contract, so you can sign them without spending a transfer fee on them, and you can search by age. So if you want a player that's going to last you a little bit longer than 2 seasons, you can sign someone who's under 23, for example. So here I'm looking for an unattached 23-year-old or under, who could be quite good. And straight away, if I search here by potential, so these are the players that my scouting team have already scouted, I've got an unattached 5-star potential player here at centre midfield. So that's the way you do it, basically. You search for players using your filters, etc. Now, you can use scouts. Now, I've heard like Zealand, for example, is a big advocate of using scouts. For me, generally, I search for my players myself. I do use things like the editor and external apps for that, like the Football Manager editor, which isn't the in-game editor. Do you call it the pre-game editor? I guess you'd call it the pre-game editor. That's absolutely free, by the way, to Football Manager players. You can get that on Steam. So yeah, and then you've got shortlists. You can load all your shortlists, and if you want to get hold of the shortlist that we make on this channel, you can hit the Patreon button down in the video description, and you can get all of these Wonderkids lists, etc. that we make on there. And there's a members section coming soon, so if the members thing is out, you can hit join as well, and that will get you access to those. In terms of transfers then, this will give you an overview of your transfers. I generally like this screen here, transfer history on the right hand side is the one I use the most. There are so many menus that I don't use on Football Manager, so hopefully I'm giving you an overview of the ones that are like essential to use. This will give you a list of all the transfers that you've made so far this season and all the outs so far. And so as you can see, we've released quite a lot of players here, Manchester United, and we've signed a couple of youngsters as well. Just to come back on the coaches a little bit, because I think there's something I missed out. If you click staff here and you go to staff search, this is how we find our coaches, right? As opposed to scouting, we need to go to staff and then staff search. You can then use the same principles. So you're searching generally for someone who has good determination, good level of discipline, and good motivation. Those 3 there, and you click those filters and hit OK. You want to have those at least 15, right? And once those are at least 15, you then search for your individual disciplines. So again, you've got a goalkeeper here, Alessandro Nista, who's 16, 16 and 16. So he's better than the one that I released earlier, right? Straight away. And his mentality is 15 and his management's 15. You then right click on this guy and you can approach to sign this guy because he hasn't got a club. Some people have got clubs, for example, here, like Giuseppe Bentelli. That's a brief overview of signing couches. You don't want to sign couches for your Football Manager team. You want to sign coaches. Make sure you write that down. Defensive then is a good defensive coach here, 19 out of 20. Fitness, 19 out of 20. Mental, 20 out of 20. Technical, 20 out of 20. And for example, when you sign these coaches, there sometimes will be a combination of attributes you need to get the best out of them for each competency, right? So you've got like attacking, technical, for example, which you would need attacking and technical, for example, off the top of my head. There is a way to find this out. I think if you click on attributes, maybe, or if you go back to training and then coaches and then edit coach assignments and then hover over each discipline, it does highlight the specific attributes you need to be good at that. So a tactical defending competency would require defensive and tactical. Who would have thought it, obviously, as well as determination, discipline, and motivation, which we spoke about earlier. So that's cleared that one up. Let's talk about transfers then. If I wanted to sign Mark Bowler, for example, I couldn't just offer him a contract because he's under contract at Middlesbrough. If he didn't have a contract, I could just offer him on straight away. I would need to go to make offer, right? I wouldn't bother making inquiries and stuff like that. You can make inquiries. That generally just bumps the price up straight away for that player. I would go to this page. I would generally not offer the asking price straight away. I'd probably go down a little bit, maybe offer like £100,000 for this guy. It's not a player that I would want straight away, but it's just the quickest way I can. That's £100. Okay, we don't want £100. We want £100,000. So we'll offer why is that not working? We'll offer £105,000 for this guy, and we'll suggest terms. I think it's really key to use suggest terms here rather than make an offer, because you get instant feedback from Middlesbrough as to what they want. So if I hit suggest terms, they then tell me straight away Middlesbrough feel that this can get that they can get more for Mark Bowler, and an improved offer will need to be submitted for further consideration. So that's what I mean by instant feedback, right? If you go to make offer, you would have to wait a few days, not real days, Football Manager days, for them to get back to you. For example, here, if I up that to a bit of a trolley offer of 106. Okay, let's just go 500k because we know that'll get accepted. And then we hit make offer. It'll then say submit offer for Mark Bowler, hit yes, and then we have no feedback then until we hit this spacebar or the inbox button at the right hand side here a few times. That's how you continue on to the next stage of the game, by the way. I think I mentioned that earlier. Other than that, you've got club info, which gives you info on your club. I generally don't ever use that. Club vision, again, you can alter that once a year when you sit down with the board or the directors or whatever to negotiate your contract. If they offer you a new contract, who knows, you might get sacked. Finances, again, it's a whole part of Football Manager which you can get quite deep into the weeds on, but generally if you're running your club well, you won't need to look at this part of the game. And development center, this is where you'll see your under 18s, your under 23s, etc., and all your youth candidates, which is basically an amalgamation of the same thing, right? Or is that different? Who knows? And all your youth candidates. Maybe it's the same. I generally just look at my under 23s and my under 18s here. Generally, if you've got a player, no matter the age, if they're able to play in your first team, if they're good enough to play in your first team, you want to get them first team games as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they hit 18 years old and they're not getting games in your first team, it's best to probably think about loaning those guys out. About 20 games a season you want to kind of aim for, or at least 10. And that's about it, guys. That's all I'm going to mention for today. Then you just hit next unread in the top corner here. That'll always change and it'll bring you onto your next email, your next thing that you've got to action, etc. So Mawson agrees to contract termination. I then got to click confirm in the bottom right hand corner before I can progress. Owen agrees to contract termination. Again, I got to click confirm here in the bottom right hand corner before I can progress. Then I hit the space bar one more time and it confirms it. Another time and it confirms it. You can see here must respond at the top. And now I've got to negotiate my club philosophies with Bobby Charlton, right? Once I've accepted that or negotiated that, I can then hit the continue button and it will load the timeline. And that's what you do. You're constantly going through the timeline. More stuff's popping up. You're picking teams, you're playing games, etc. Do hit like if you've enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to go into more detail on. But hopefully that's helped, right? And hit subscribe if you're new. See you soon.